I've been thinking a lot lately, like, about the future and what's going to happen to me, and to tell you the truth, I'm terrified of the future because I don't know what's going to happen to me. I know a lot of people don't know what'll happen to them in the future, but right now I'm on the verge of graduating from high school, and pretty soon I'll be off in college, and I won't be with my friends. I'll be in a whole new surrounding, and this whole kind of deal just scares me to death. It's like going into a whole new reality, and you're a whole new person, and man, it's a scary thing, and I'm really not looking forward to it. A lot of people tell me, like, it's nothing to worry about, I'll be fine, but I'm not even sure if I'm ready to leave everything that I have behind and start over and build up something new. I mean, I have plans, I have dreams, but the more I look it over, the more my sources come together. I just don't think I'm prepared. It seems so different. Well, it seemed a lot different back when I was just starting in high school as a freshman, and you know, back then, in those days, you really didn't have a lot of thoughts. You were naive, and now when you are just about to graduate soon in like a few more months, it just all comes together like right away. And I'm just scared to death that, you know, when I get out there into the real world, it's gonna fail out on me, and I really don't want that. Another big concern is like my family. It's gonna be really hard to leave them and just focus on a whole new different career, and you know, starting my life and getting it together. It's gonna be tough, I know that. I mean, Rome wasn't built in a day, that's for sure. And how long will it take for me to get my life together? There's a lot of people that are struggling with the same issues that I'm going with right now, you know. I mean, it's going to be really tough, and I'm just not sure if I'm ready. That's all I have to say, is I'm not sure that I'm ready. I know what I want to do. I know exactly everything that I want, down to the very last detail, but I'm just not sure if it's all going to come together in time. And you know, when you spend most of your life, you know, at home with your mom and dad, or just maybe with your mom or just your dad, whoever you're living with, you get so dependent on them that you're not really sure like what's going to happen with you after you have to get up and leave. And that's a really tough thing, because I've spent so much of my life at home that I'm terrified to step outside into the real world and see what it's like to live on my own. And you know, good or bad, it's still going to be terrifying, because there's so much that it's going to happen, and I just don't know. And like I was saying, you know, you spend most of your life with your family, and you get this big thought like, man, am I really ready to just step out there and leave them behind? And when you're put in a really tough situation like that, it just makes the whole process of moving on, growing up, getting out there even harder than you thought it would be back at base one. And I know there's like a lot of steps that I have to take before I'm fully ready to move on and go out there in the real world. And right now it's becoming so difficult because there's so much left that I still haven't done. There's so much left that I need to do. And just by making my way through what I have right now, it's going to make it even more difficult to get by. I mean, it's typical to struggle the first few years of your life because you're just starting out, but I just really want to know how it all happens once it unravels. It's like walking on thin air. You know, you don't realize you're doing it until you come to a downfall. Man, this is so confusing, but yet I'm really glad that I got this out in the open because at least I know what my biggest fear is. And you know, we all have little tiny fears in our lives, like spiders or snakes and heights. You know, my fear is moving on, growing up, getting out there. And so far I'm looking at this big book that's right in front of me that, you know, has all the answers into it. But how am I going to find all the answers if I still have yet to write the book? Because somebody told me once that there's this big book of life and it has all the answers in it. But the answers aren't just in it. You write the book, you create the answers. And, you know, I didn't believe it at first, but now I'm getting older, I'm wiser now. I'm not so naive. So I'm starting to understand this more. Right now, the book, my life, has nothing but blank pages. And this book doesn't get written until you start day one of your life out in the real world. And I know once I get out there, I'm not going to be catered to. I won't have anybody to depend on but myself, and that's when I need to learn to be independent. And I thought I was independent before, but I guess now that I look at it, I'm not independent at all. I'm still dependent on what I have. I'm still dependent on my mom doing everything for me, you know, down to very last detail. And now I need to pick up the pieces after everything gets broken up like into one big puzzle and put it back together again somehow. So until then, I guess I'll just have to wait and see. But still, I'm going to be terrified because I don't know what's out there. It's a whole new different world once you step outside your house. That's for sure. I'm still waiting.